This whole area, when you're coming in, like Kata, the Club Med is there, so this is primarily where these hotels are as well. Now, was Rawai developed, or how did it differentiate from the 80s, 90s to today?
Well, Rawai, I'll tell you what, because it's been a real, if I can use the word, a real mindfuck coming back here. And that's why I don't live on Phuket. That's why I live on Turtle Beach. It's just too jarring and disconcerting to be here. It's like you were in love with a girl in high school, just absolutely head over heels. The two of you never hooked up. You went out in the world, you did your things, and then you meet at your 40th high school reunion, and you don't recognize her.
She's a meth addict.
Yeah, exactly. She's lost all her teeth. She's got one eye, whatever. And
that's what Phuket is happening.
Yes. I mean, the first time I came here, I had to run away. It was a psychic shock. It was because it has not been developed with any plan. The fact that Patong was rebuilt after the tsunami exactly the way it was before the tsunami, it's madness. But Rawai is probably the place that reminds me the most of what it was in the 80s, because it was a strip of restaurants, and across the road, all of those restaurants had a paved area and tables out there on the beach or adjacent, beach adjacent, because you can't build on the beach here. It's Tiluang. It's the king's land. All the beaches are king's property. So you can't actually build. I think it's supposed to be 10 meters of the high tide mark or something like that. Nothing taller than a coconut tree. Yeah. But at any rate, in Rawai, they've stuck to that. And that's what it is today. It's a strip of restaurants and then a little 2-lane highway and then all of these outdoor dining areas. And because their dining has always been set up outdoors, they've survived COVID very well, I think. You don't see the shuttered shop houses. You don't see the burned out husks of what used to be a restaurant 3 years ago. You don't see that as much, I think. And again, this is my subjective perception. And Rawai, that strip of once you're within sight and smell of the ocean, around the bottom of the island, and then at the end of it, at what's it called, Nikita Bar, you make that left, you come back up toward Phuket town. That whole strip along the water there looks, sounds, and feels like it did. And of course, the menus haven't changed in 100 years. They're selling the same food. You can get the same food there. I'm sure the prices are different.
Well, it's like a fishing village almost. I mean, they have the pier out there. The fishing boats are all lined up.
And because it's a mud flat, because it's a very unattractive beach, the whole eastern side of the island, all those beaches suck. They're all shallow mud flats. But that's where all the fishing industry has been pushed, because the west side beaches, the pretty beaches, they've pushed out all the longtail boat fishermen and the trawlers to make room for jet skis and parasailing and surfing lessons. And so all of that now has moved around the bottom of the island and to the east side of the island. And that's where you find the Burmese camps. But because that beach there is still very shallow and muddy and unattractive, there's a lot of the working fishing boats still tie up there. And that's exactly the way it was.